What about something completely different? What's completely different than this? Right? So that's what I did. Now I've kind of really set up something. What next? Da 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 dee 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 somewhere, right? You know. So I know what I did was, since I had those two longs, I decided to follow it with two shorts. That's the first one. Here's the second. Now a short that turns into a long. Back to the beginning. Now repeat it. So before I repeat it, I go wander somewhere. So this is another one. You and I were talking, I think, last night. If you, let me say the rest of After Paris, and I'll come back and do it. What I did then is I looked at this. That's the minor scale. What's this? That's every note you own. That's the harmonic. That's the chromatic. So it starts off minor, ends up chromatic. That's really weird. So I decided for an intro, I would go down chromatic and up harmonic, up minor. Watch this. And put the D minor chord. Yes. We're getting, it won't be long and we're through. Huh? Break is coming up.
We got 15 minutes.
Yeah. So then I kept my little thing going. What I've done in the intro now is I introduced all the notes you're going to hear in the melody. So I really think like a puzzle maker or a craftsman, you know. If I'm going to have some oak, I better put some pine in here somewhere, you know. If I'm going to have some salad, I better find some beans. Now, the other thing I do a lot of times, this would be a good exercise. You guys take a piano lessons ever and play this one. Little Bach minuet. It's in book 2, I think, you know. Now look what's going on. If you had this, what would you do next?
Contrast it?
You could repeat it, couldn't you?
Okay, so when I say repeat it, it's actually contrast, and then when I say contrast it, it's actually repeated.
Then, so what you're going to do is you want to repeat it with a variation. How about just higher?
I wanted to say repeated, but I was.
By saying repeat it, that's right. Something from the family with a little variation. So here's the first part: 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, da 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 8. You just copy it, repeat it up above. Dum da 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 bum. Same rhythm, higher notes. So that's a possibility. So now we're Bach. We're thinking like he thinks. We've done enough of that, haven't we? So how about this? Take a little bit of it and repeat it. And go back down. So now what? Start again. Up high this time. So the same little rhythmic thrill, but investigate a new part of the melody. I mean, hang the whole thing together and kind of balance it. It's a dance, is what it is. You're thinking like Bach.
What was the thing you were saying you were talking to me about last night? You said you were talking to me about something last night.
This whole thing of like, if you went and if you heard this, what would you do next? You've heard what goes next. How did you know to do that?
Well, I don't know what goes next.
Da da bum, da da bum, da da bum, da da bum. It's just like ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum, ba ba. If you do this, you do. That's what he did. He took all the da da bums he could think of and put them in every key.
Is that like an echo?
It's like an echo, exactly. You pick something up and you remind them they've heard it, but you make a change. Echo's a good word for that, yeah. So now, that's how classical music works. It's dum 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 change dum 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 new dum 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 bum 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 bum. That's a classical music piece before it was the Lone Ranger, you know. And if you just look at the number of classical pieces that do that, I remember conductor of the New York Philharmonic saying, how many classical pieces go ready, set, go, short, short, long, you know, as the form of how to it's just the way they're hung together, you know. Now, when you get to songs like from, you know, show tunes and finally pop music, they tend to be in 8-bar phrases, so you don't run out of breath, and you can sing, you know, once in a while, da 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 dee 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 dee, da 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 da. So they're in chunks, breathable chunks, you know, and they're in singable, breathable chunks. So it's a different way of. I'll tell you another one. You guys know Barry Manilow's Copacabana. You know that one?
I think I have heard.
Go find Copacabana. At the Copacabana, and this is boy and girl meet. They come back to the Copa and they dance the night away. Well, that's Barry Manilow's first big hit. Up to that point, no hits. You know what he wrote? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. He wrote 5 or 6 of those. And so you think, go look at some commercials, you know, and what you've got is like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You know, just a little rise and a safe landing, right? So if you think about how those are put together, they're telling little mini stories and very carefully crafted. I think he wrote that one. He wrote 2 or 3 that were, he was a rich guy before he ever had a hit song. And I think somebody told me he does those in his show. He does a whole thing. Here's some commercials I wrote. And people say, what? You know. So if you think about it, those are all little composition exercises, bits of melody complemented by other bits of melody. And now you begin to compose and arrange. You've got this kind of sense of what's possible, how you might go about something.
These are things you learn in business school too? No?
I haven't been there yet, but no, I won't go there.
You want to learn just business, okay. But good to know these things, right?
Well, look at this one. Same thing higher up. I was waltzing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz. But longer than third time. When an old friend I happened to see. Same rhythm. I introduced him to my darling, and while they were waltzing, my friend stole my sweetheart from back to one. I remember, and I told him the thing. And all the songwriters in town say, that's not the Tennessee Waltz, that's a song about the Tennessee Waltz. I remember the night.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
It's not the waltz. It's what I remember when I heard the waltz.
And the one that's super similar is the Kentucky Waltz.
Yes.
That's Bill Monroe did that one.
And I tell you, when I was working at the Country Music Hall of Fame, I knew one of the guys who wrote the Tennessee Waltz. And what he said, he was an accordion player. And what he said is, they're on the road, and the Kentucky Waltz was a hit. He says, we should write a Tennessee Waltz. So the inspiration for the Tennessee Waltz is the Kentucky Waltz. And that's when they wrote that melody.
Did you ever meet Bill Monroe?
I did. I used to play with Bill Monroe in the lobby of the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Really?
We would have events, and he always had his mandolin with him. And it'd be a lull in the party or whatever. He'd say, who can play some rhythm?
Was he a stickler?
He was fun. He loved to play music, you know.
I hear that he was kind of a...
He could be a jerk.
A stickler.
But never that way
If
around
you didn't
us.
play bluegrass right, then he would...
Oh, yeah. But I remember playing Christmas Times to come in with him. And Blue Moon over Kentucky, keep on shining, you know. And I didn't know them all, but I'd get enough, you know, that I could do it. But I realized if somebody didn't play rhythm with him, he was going to be disappointed. In a lull like this, he'd have his mandolin out and want to play, you know. And one time, you don't believe this. Where's the Bible? I can do. look at this. So we're gonna have a Christmas party at the Hall of Fame, and we have brought different artists in to decorate the tree like their family used to do. So we brought Ricky Skaggs in to decorate the Christmas tree. And then we're gonna invite the public in for the unveiling of the Christmas tree. He said, well, what else can we do with Ricky? I said, why don't we get Bill Monroe to dress up like Santa Claus? Oh, he's not gonna do that. I said, well, let me ask him. I called him up. Hello? He answered the phone. Bill Monroe Enterprises. I said, John Knowles. John who? Oh, yeah, John. I said, what do you want? He said, well, we want to surprise Ricky. We're hoping you might dress up like Santa Claus. He said, for Ricky? Oh, yeah, I do that. Well, he got down there and he chickened out. So I said, okay, let's do this. Let's put the suit away. I said, be Bill Monroe. Put your hat on. I said, well, let's do the beard. Let's put the Santa Claus hat on the Bill Monroe hat. Yeah, that's cool. So Ricky's out there talking away, and all of a sudden here comes Bill Monroe with a hat and a beard, you know. What do you got to say for yourself, Santa? And Bill Monroe said, ho, 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 like he talked, you know. And we got pictures of that. But it's against that goofy, you've heard me come up with goofy ideas. That's what happened. If you have an idea, work it. If your imagination is speaking to you, try to listen and see what it's saying. So I got to get Bill Monroe to dress up like Santa Claus. Resume. They're gonna kick us out of here to the next. So we should take a pee break, a sip of coffee, and see what's on the next agenda, right?
Good deal.